Hello, my name is James Clegg and I work for the University of Edinburgh's Talbot Rice Gallery. I'm also the curator of our current exhibition, which is called Pine's Eye. Pine's Eye looks at the relationship between people and nature. This is a story that's ever complicated by the politics and the geographies of the 12 different artists that are shown across our very distinct spaces. Due to the 2020 pandemic, I've decided to make a series of short films that look at each of these artists in turn. Today we're going to look at the work of Taryn Simon. The exhibition features two of Taryn Simon's high-definition photographic prints from the series Paperwork and the Will of Capital. A lot of contemporary art hinges on the relationship between the things that you look at and the meaning of those things, the stories behind them. And I think this is a really good example of an artist who takes responsibility for that relationship, really thinks how she wants it to play out. From a distance, these look like very attractive pictures of bouquets. But as you get closer, you notice that there are panels of text inset into the frame. The first thing that these panels reveal to us is the title of the work. This work is called Finding Pursuant to Section 662 of the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961, as amended, concerning operations in foreign countries other than those intended solely for the purpose of intelligence collection. White House, Washington, D.C., United States, 1981. And underneath the title, we can read more about this particular resolution. This is President Ronald Reagan authorizing the investment of hundreds of millions of dollars into the Middle East, backing people like Osama bin Laden in order to manipulate the politics there. This work is called Agreement to Form a Palestinian National Unity Government, Mecca, Saudi Arabia, February 8th, 2007. And underneath, we're told that this was a meeting between two warring Palestinian factions in order to try and create peace in that region. So it's obvious that there's something about these flowers. There's some kind of hidden story or message that they're not quite revealing to us. In order to understand this, I think it's important to go back to the roots of the artwork to understand the process. Taryn Simon was initially prompted by a photograph she saw of the meeting between Benito Mussolini, Adolf Hitler and Neville Chamberlain at the signing of the Munich Agreement. This is a notorious agreement that was followed by Neville Chamberlain's ill-fated "There will be peace in our time" speech. What she found particularly curious about this image was that it showed a flower bouquet in the foreground. She was intrigued by the fact that this is still, or was still, part of the stagecraft and pageantry of power. From here, she then started to work with a botanist to understand and unpick the floral arrangements appearing in various photographs of agreements, accords, and treaties being signed. From this photograph of the meeting between President Gerald Ford and the Shah of Iran, she was able to identify three different flower types. A. Diathanous caryophyllus, or spray carnation from Colombia. B. Gypsophilia paniculata, or baby's breath from Kenya. And C. Centaure cyanus, or cornflower from the United States of America. Once the flowers have been identified, she'll then recreate the bouquets in her studio and set them against a colour palette that's derived from the original photographs. Then, from the work that we have in the exhibition, Reagan's authorization of millions of dollars of investment into weapons in the Middle East, she was able to identify four different flower types. A. Kalanchoe tomentosa, or panda plant from the Netherlands. B. Aloe humilis, or dwarf hedgehog aloe from the Netherlands. C. Kalanchoe blossfeldiana, or Christmas kalanchoe from the Netherlands. And D. Cedium panchifilum, or jelly bean plant from the Netherlands. But I think there are two more important things to know about the development of this work. Taryn Simon set herself two distinct parameters. The first was to only look at photographs that included at least one representative from a country who'd been in attendance at the Bretton Woods conference. This was a really important conference after the Second World War, and it led to the founding of the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and later the World Trade Organization. So institutions that really played a significant role in the shaping of global economics in the second half of the last century. The second parameter that she set herself was to only look at photographs taken after 1968. And the significance of that date in this context is that that was the date of the opening of the Ellesmere flower market. This remains the largest flower market in the world. And at the time, it facilitated this kind of marketplace in which you would have flowers from all around the world in bloom at the same time. There are other connections in this artwork to the Netherlands too. Tulip fever is when tulips in the Netherlands became so fashionable and so sought after that the value of a single tulip became equivalent to the value of a worker's house. The second thing she was thinking about was the way that in the 17th and 18th centuries, painters would often demonstrate their skills by painting still lives of flower arrangements. And to show their virtuosity, these painters would often bring together flowers from around the world that wouldn't naturally be in bloom together at the same time. These are called impossible bouquets, and they're a kind of bouquet that only became a reality with the opening of the Ellesmere flower market in 1968. So these works are really founded on a very rich theme of research and critical thinking. Taryn Simon is really getting us to think about the way that our relationship to nature has been displaced, drawing our attention to global economics and global power play.